is going to be a video on how to install a 2-inch suspension lift to a Mitsubishi Pajero. My one happens to be the Gen 4, the 2007 NS. The lift kit that I've got is the Durashock front and rear plus the Lovells springs. So I've got this 100 kilo constant weight, and I've just got an alloy bull bar on the front. So I think these are the sort of the lighter duty ones. I've also got the rear spring seats. So these ones are for the top and these ones are for the bottom. So they just sit on the top and bottom of the spring. So I've already taken my spring off before, and I've seen that the factory ones, which are rubber, they get flogged. I got this kit from 4-Wheel Drive Direct in Queensland. The whole thing was $11.64 delivered, and that it also includes the upper spring seats, which are an add-on. I'm also interested to know how much the weight difference is. So I've got my bathroom scales here, and maybe the most important bit is I want to see how much various parts of the car get lifted. So I've got my tape measure. There is one more test I want to do before I do this lift, is to see how much the vehicle moves when there's a bit of weight applied. So I'm going to measure off some reference points off the front and back, and I'm just going to sit on the bull bar and the back and see how much the suspension goes down. If you're doing this on your own, like me, I'd highly recommend you get something like this. These were like $15 for the pack from Bunnings, and you're going to need that to undo your factory shocks. On your factory ones, that'll go around and you'll be able to undo the bolt. It's just a way of holding the shock to stop it from twisting. Now we're going to start the back left suspension, but all you have to do is just take this shock off the top and bottom mount, and then basically this arm, you'll be able to kick that down and just take the spring out. And this is where this thing comes in handy. You'll see the whole shock starts to twist, which means you either have to hold it there with your hand or get someone else to hold it. But I'm going to use this one. So the next thing to do is to just undo this bolt here, which holds this arm on, and that'll let us push this arm down and get the spring out. If yours is anything like mine, that top seat will be flogged. Well, there you go. I didn't even know, but my spring is snapped. So that's actually the spring sitting in there. It's the old one, and you can see there, that's where it's snapped straight off there. Interesting. Springs out, and that's meant to be joined up there. Now then, I'm about to put the shock and spring back in, so I'll show you where you need to adjust for the wheel alignment. So this one's going to set your camber, and then up here, this point here is going to do most of the toe in for the rear wheels. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but the bottom arm doesn't want to go up. So I'm just going to put the jack under there and see what happens. See if I can get get it to this to mate up to here. Now you'll notice here, once you sort of get it up to this point, the arm's misaligned here. So you have to actually get a ratchet strap, put it around the back of that, and pull the arm that way. Now I've just set up my ratchet strap, so I just got one hook on the arm there, going over the top, and just hooked it onto my side step. There you go. I wasn't sure if the spring was going to sit in right, but it's sat perfectly now. So I'll just take the strap off and then put the shock in. And one other point to note is that you shouldn't tighten the suspension up until the wheel's sat back on the ground. That's so the bushing doesn't get all twisted up when you tighten it while the suspension's drooped. There we go, the back's done. I think it's sitting a little high because the front is not done yet, plus the wheels are off camber. Time to do the front. Now with the battery box removed, the top of the strut's accessible now. So I'll do the airbox this time. Now with the airbox removed, the driver's side top of the strut's free to access now. Now to get the strut off, you first need to take the upper control arm off. So it's a matter of undoing those 3 bolts at the top of the ball joint, and then take off the 2 bolts at the back there, and then we can unbolt the strut from the bottom and the top, and it should come out. Okay, so it's another day. Gave up yesterday because I couldn't get the suspension strut bolt holes at the bottom to line up because the new strut's just a little bit taller, and I think on this side the sway bar was stopping this arm going any lower. Maybe if you had another person to lean on it, but I'm by myself. So I've just unbolted the sway bar linkage, so I'm going to pull that out and then see how much lower the arm can go and if I can get the strut in. So that's made a massive difference. So now you can see this was the problem. was that before the arm wasn't dropping low enough, so I couldn't get the strut hole to line up with the arm, but now I'll be able to lift the arm into place to put that one in. So yeah, there you go. If you don't have enough movement, just disconnect your sway bar up the top there. Now with the lift all done, I'm just going to chuck on the screen and show you some of the weights I took before and after, and also the suspension gain overall, so what it looked like initially, what it looked like after, and also what happens after a couple of weeks of driving. These are my before and after heights. So you can see where I've taken the measurements. So I've taken the front wheel arches, rear wheel arches, the underside, that's from the ground to the sill on both sides, and I've also done the front cross member and the rear cross member, which supports the rear diff. So the values in red are the pre-lift, and all the values in blue are the post-lift, and that's also the same after about 300 k's of driving over 3 weeks. So it didn't really change too much. So you can see all around I gained around 7 centimeters, 6 to 7. There's a bit of measurement error because it's not precision measurements, but it'd be about 2.5 inch to 3 inch lift. These here are the weights of the upgraded suspension and the original kit. So the original one was about 32 kilos, the new one's 48. So it's a weight increase of about 16 kilos. And so there you go, the suspension lift is all done. That's what it looks like at the end. So you can see the blue spring. That's the front. That's the back. And from the back you can clearly see the springs. And yeah, good luck.